Dr. Gorka, what about al-Qaeda urging lone wolf jihadists to attack, quote, white Americans? This is in their latest edition of their online magazine. It says, saying self-directed terrorists should not target minorities because their attacks would be labeled as hate crimes instead of terrorism directed from al-Qaeda or ISIS.
Right, it's a fascinating development. ISIS is just making it very clear to everybody that Orlando isn't about homosexuals. It's not a revenge crime by a lone individual. This is a war against infidels. The fact is the people in Orlando, the 49 dead Americans, were Americans. That's the point, and they want to be very explicit. This isn't about your sexual preference. Well, it's about the fact that you're an infidel.
Why do you think this administration is just so devoted to not calling it what it is and looking for these other explanations?
Well, that's a long answer. I mean, you have to get my book, Defeating Jihad. I think one of the big reasons is they've misdiagnosed the threat. They have said for the last 7 years, terrorism is the result of lack of employment and undereducation, which is, of course, absurd. If that were true, half of India would be terrorists, and they're not. They want to deny the role of ideology because they don't want to say this has anything to do with religion.
Well, Osama bin Laden was one of the richest families, right? He came from, yeah, there was no poverty. And, yeah.
Look at the 19 hijackers of 9/11. Look at Farouk and Malik from San Bernardino. Look at the Fort Hood shooter. Look at the Tsarnaev brothers. None of these people are born in Palestinian refugee camps, but there's this Alice in Wonderland kind of fairy tale that the administration wants us to believe, that they're poor, disenfranchised individuals. Nothing could be further from the truth.
What about this back and forth this week about Trump's policies on immigration? You know, his whole team is clarifying that he would only ban Muslims from, quote, terror states, highlighting the rising threats we're facing and renewing his stance on combating terrorism yesterday. Listen to this, Dr. Gorka.
Can you imagine them sitting around the table or wherever they're eating their dinner, talking about the Americans don't do waterboarding and yet we chop off heads? They probably think we're weak, we're stupid, we don't know what we're doing. We have no leadership. You know, you have to fight fire with fire.
Your reaction, Dr. Gorka?
Look, just because the enemy is evil doesn't mean we have to do nasty things. I agree with Donald Trump that we have to act as if we are at war, and we have to jettison political correctness. And I think that's the key part of his message. The idea that you're going to have some kind of religious test at the border is not doable. I mean, how many Americans would pass a Christianity test? I'm not sure that would work. But if you translate his demands into more commonsensical ones, like saying, look, no refugees coming from active war zones where jihadis are present, that's just common sense. What do we know about the Brussels attack? We had individuals there who were on refugee status using falsified Syrian passports. This isn't theoretical, this is real. ISIS has said we are going to use the immigrant exodus to put our operatives onto your territory. You have to take that seriously.
All right, Dr. Gorka, good to have you on the program this morning. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Anytime, Maria.
We will see you soon. Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Up next, succeeding in a new global economy, we are taking a look at the world's top employers for new graduates. Straight ahead. Then Pinterest ramping up its e-commerce push behind the social media platform's plan to get you to shop more. We're back in a moment. Stay with me.